Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Bhairavi, the Sky Priestess, and it's been a while. So, today I'm going to be talking about a few things. I'm going to be talking about the solar eclipse in Libra just passed. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Thereus entering Libra, and I'm going to be talking about Pluto stationing direct. And I'm also going to be talking about a serious imbalance that we need to address within our own community. So I do hope you stay till the end of this video because this also pertains to you. So let us first begin with the solar eclipse in Libra. Now, yes, I know the Libra eclipse has already passed, and you might wonder why is it still relevant. But the thing you got to remember is that eclipses have an enormous window of time. Not only do they connect to each other in 9 and 18-year cycles, but they also have an enormous window of influence, which, depending on the power of the eclipse, it can be a week before and after, 2 weeks before and after, a month before and after that specific eclipse. So we are still well within the field of influence of this energy. Now, I've been trying to do this video for the past 2 days, but due to severe health reasons, I have not been able to, and I'm just only now able to sit up and do this. And I am someone who does her best to fulfill what she says she sets out to do. So, moving into the actual solar eclipse in Libra, as you would have seen, for those of you who've seen my Substack link, in that article, I give you an overview of what Libra is about, the key questions for self reflection that you can still ask yourself, and also the dates that connect this eclipse to other eclipses. And I made sure I gave you that information in advance. So that has already been up there for a while for you to read. But we're still going to do a recap of that along with some other things that are not spoken of in that article, hence the need for this video. So, first of all, Libra is not a doormat. Bad astrologers will tell you Libra is a doormat because they don't understand it. And I take a very strong stance on this because bad astrology is one of those things that pisses me off. Having said that, one of my little teachers has just popped up because she agrees too. Libra is the energy of justice. It is the energy of fairness. It is the energy of balance. It is the energy of harmony. When Libra is out of balance, yes, it can exhibit doormat like tendencies. All go this. There are many, many different ways that energy comes through. And effectively, okay, effectively, Libran energy is an energy that asks us to look at what is the field or what is the space that we exist in, and how do we coexist with others within this space? That is the key question of Libra. And a lot of people mistake Libra for passivity because they think that being kind, being generous, holding space is somehow weakness, and it is not. What happens when you actually hold space is you take a step back. You take a step back and you allow yourself to look at what is the context of what you are seeing. And how do you relate to others in that context? Is everyone carrying the weight that they need to carry in a connection? Is everyone doing their part? Is everyone bringing what they need to bring to whatever it is you're doing at this time? And to actually come to the determination, you need to take a step back, which is why Libra is also detached. But what tends to happen with Libra, unless a person is already morally compromised or has some other karmic issue going on, what tends to happen is you only see the sword of justice come out when enough of a transgression has actually happened and there is that point of no return. Up to that point, Libra will typically try to be the diplomat. It will typically try to be the energy that creates the bridge, that creates harmony, that tries to get everyone on the page. Because being the peacemaker takes work. Being the glue that holds everyone together takes work. It is undervalued work, it is underappreciated work, but it is the work that actually keeps relationships going. And usually the person doing all of this um, tends to be the least appreciated because society has chosen to evolve in such a way that the invisible work of creating the bonds that hold each other together is devalued. And this is also going to be part of this video. So when Libra finally stands up, and all attempts at creating bridges have failed, justice has not been maintained, boundaries has been transgressed, that is when you get the sword of Libra. And that's what happens. And at this time, given the state of what is happening in the world, looking at what is happening in Lebanon, for example, just to put that out there, um, and well, just to put that out there, what is happening right now with the state of the world is that we are seeing injustice, we are seeing transgressions happen at a massive scale and at a massive level. We are seeing the world head to a space in which that allowance that has been given for justice, for peace, for fairness has been transgressed to the point that staying silent is effectively condoning the inhumanity that we are seeing. And of course, it's not just Lebanon, it's been happening in many other parts of the world. But that is where the world's focus currently is. But effectively speaking, this is a time where all of us are being called to stand up, to make a difference, to say something that actually matters. I also do want to reference the two Tamil people who have decided to say hello because this is how they have chosen to use their time in this space. One fellow named Vinod says, "Hi baby, so cute." Another fellow says, "Naan oru minor kunja." Oh, who claims that I am some kind of old woman. ரெண்டு பேருக்கு வேற வேலை இல்லை. சப்ஜெக்ட் தெரியாம மடத்தனமா பேசிட்டு தமிழன மானத்தை வாங்குறீங்க. ஒழுங்கா உட்கார்ந்து கேளுங்க, இல்லைன்னா போங்க. And this is how people are using social media to actually access an energy of an actual mystic and truth teller and sayer at this time. By basically just said, stop, stop undermining your own ethnicity and start having some respect. But effectively, getting back to the point, the Libran energy is one, as you can see here, is one that holds the space up to the point in which one can no longer hold that space effectively because principles of justice have already been transgressed. And that's effectively what is happening right now. Now, this particular Libra eclipse won't feel like a normal Libra eclipse because the Libra eclipse is conjunct Black Moon Lilith. It is also conjunct Mercury, which is a time where you need to be assertive. Tactful, yes. Diplomatic, yes, until you can no longer be diplomatic. But you need to be assertive. You need to be assertive in saying, this is what I will and this is what I will not tolerate. So this is where we actually need to come in with that sword of justice. This is the time. And with Black Moon Lilith in play, what we effectively see is the need to look at whose voices have been ignored. Where has injustice been perpetuated? Where do we actually see we are not doing our part in the world? And that is not just happening in the grand scheme of politics, but even in our everyday lives, even in the communities, even in this community, people are not doing their part. And it is a time to honestly be reflecting on what you can do to walk your talk. Now, with Black Moon Lilith in Libra, yeah, you got to look at the person who's not being spoken for. You got to look at who is being taken for granted. You got to look at whose narrative and whose voice is being ignored and whose efforts are being erased. But at the same time, there's also the possibility for people to try and abuse that energy by falsely claiming victimhood. There's the covert narcissist, there's the vulnerable narcissist. That's another dynamic that can also come up. And so, through this time of needing to seek justice, we must also seek the truth. Seek the truth, because the truth is what will ultimately set you free. Now, at this time, when we are still seeing the need for this, the need for this discernment is even more intense because Thereus is going to enter Libra. Thereus is going to be entering Libra on the same day that Pluto stations direct at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And that is going to set us up for 4 years. 4 years of really needing to negotiate our boundaries with others, really looking at how our personal lapses in understanding our innate sense of justice and integrity create energetic backdoors and allowances that create disharmony at a larger level. We need to be looking at our personal sense of justice and how we apply that in the here and the now. And that is why this work of discernment is so important. We're also going to be seeing Pluto trining Thereus in the build up to all of this. Pluto stations direct Thereus enters Libra on October 12th, which is going to be a very intense point in this year. We are going to need to see where we need to do our part, to be a part of communities that are healthy, to walk our talk, to actually give and receive in balanced ways. And this is one of the key focuses of this time, which is why I felt comfortable in also taking the room my body needed to have the health and the strength to get up and do this, because that is also key. I mean, one of the ways in which the concept of Libra gets co opted as badly as it does is through the ways in which people go, well, in the name of balance and harmony, I got to center myself, I got to take time for myself, I got to do self care. Now, if anyone is actually interested in understanding why self care was such a liberatory concept, they need to go back to the words of Audre Lorde. And it was in her writing and her understanding of self care that we see that self care could never exist in isolation from community care. To actually care for the self at the expense of everyone else only reinforces a patriarchal and capitalist system. To equate self care to it's me time, I'm going to go put that facial mask on, I'm going to listen to some music in the tub and sit there, and that's how I take care of myself, is such a shallow, westernized, colonized interpretation of the concept. To actually understand what it means to build community and to give and take in fair measure, you need to return to Audre Lorde's understanding of self care. Look it up for yourselves. A lot of you will be very surprised. So, it is somewhat irksome for me to see people banning about the concept. Now, before reading about Audre Lorde's idea, I instinctively felt there was something already wrong with the way people were understanding self care within the spiritual community. Because to me, it just looked like another capitalistic excess, another excuse for indulgence. And and then when I read this, it made perfect sense because energetically, that was never the root of self care. Self care was not just about you. It was about taking care of yourself so you could show up for community. And it was also about making sure that the person next to you was doing okay. And this is something that I see has been woefully co opted and forgotten. Using the same language, using the same rhetoric, but with that capitalistic appropriative excesses that you see within the spiritual community. That is not what self care is about. That is never what it was about. It has always been about togetherness. And if we want to have any chance on this planet, we have to remember what that is in our homes, in our families, in our communities, virtual and physical, in the way we connect with other people, whether it's people of our own ethnicity, our own race, or different races, or people of our own political understandings or different understandings. It is that togetherness which is what is going to show us a way through. And this is what is being forgotten. Astrology and spirituality are unfortunately narcissistic havens because this concept has been co opted, because this kind of work is taken for granted. You think you can buy it and therefore it's yours? It's not. It's something that you need to live. It's something that you need to breathe and you need to do and you need to be, not just for yourself, but for every being around you. That is what it means to walk on a liberatory spiritual path. Anything else is navel gazing. But that's my Black Moon Lilith in Libra coming out. And you know what I'm like. I speak for the jest. Otherwise, I don't say anything. Unless it's very important or it's a hello neighbor. But even with a soul as gentle as Fred Rogers in doing the Hello Neighbor series, we saw what he was trying to do in a very subtle way, in a very inclusive way. He was breaking down the barriers. He was showing what kindness actually meant. And that meant getting uncomfortable. That meant putting aside your own comfort to see the suffering and the injustices that were around you. And he did it in such a lovely way, in a way that even a child could understand and access. He did it in such a way that would actually allow people to connect to each other in deeply meaningful, in deeply profound ways. So, you know, this is the kind of healing that we truly need. We don't need facilitations. We don't need to go and look at our past lifetimes. We need to be present in the here and now. Sure, those things can help. But ultimately, they need to bring you back into the fullness of who you are, not just so you can sit in your own space, but so that you can be here to be with everyone, to share with everyone appropriately. There are no pedestals that are required. There is only true connection and discernment. And that is what people have forgotten. I was actually kind of happy that I was ill in a certain ways because I knew if I had done this earlier, this would have been a lot more of a firebrand talk. So I'm kind of happy my body said, no, no, wait, wait, wait. I said, all right, fine. But here we are. So, at this time, these are the key lessons. This is the core. And of course, with Pluto also stationing direct on the same day that Thereus enters Libra, we see the need to be looking at these points and questions of intensity. I know people want a safe space. I know people want to look at Mudang and pretend that's what being ungovernable is. For those of you who don't know, Mudang is the little baby pygmy hippopotamus that everyone is going gaga about. Believe me, I love fur babies. I love all kinds of cute little critters, and that's fine. But saying that's your symbol of resistance is a shame to humanity because that child's life is monitored, it is structured every single day. Every aspect of her life is governed. Every single aspect. And yet people don't think about this. They just want the brief little boost of energy that comes from looking at the image. And that is another way in which this Libran energy can get distorted. By all means, look at cute things that make your mind feel better. I do it all the time, you know. But understand that true liberation isn't about feeling good. That's just what capitalism wants you to believe. Then we get to the point where, we need to talk about this community. Now, I know this community has been with me for a long time, but I also know who is actually here because I see, if we have sessions or we have contributions, I see the people who come in. And honestly, the people who saved my butt earlier this year, about 30 people out of all of you. And I actually have to repay a lot to those people. But 30 people is not what should be running this community. There are thousands of you who have been silent, who have either not contributed by way of a contribution or booking a session or doing anything at all. And to be honest, those 30 people have been carrying your weight. So if you want to keep following my work and walk your talk, I need you to start doing your part. Seriously. Otherwise, just go somewhere else. I don't care. What I want is people who actually listen to the messages and follow them. Does this mean I want to go and, milk your money all the time? If I wanted to do that, honey, I wouldn't be here. I'd be doing something else. It means I want people who come with integrity. So, even if you can't afford it financially, I notice that people aren't even sharing the work. They're liking it, they're saying how much it helps them. Share it. Even if you don't have anything to contribute financially, share the work, share it with people you think are resonant. Keep the community healthy and growing. Don't ride on the efforts of 30 some people who have decided to be generous and to walk their talk. Do your part. What I've also done is for people who either can't afford sessions or who can't afford $23 a month for the premium membership program, which is where you get hours and hours and hours of written and video content every month. It is very, very intense. And there's also the Substack option where you can subscribe for $5 a month. And if you really can't afford that, I understand because not everyone is in a situation where you can take $5 for granted. But if you can and you haven't done anything, why are you even here? Because I am tired of looking at the same people who have decided to be kind and decided to help. Understand that there are people doing this job for a commercial purpose and they don't undergo the cost that I undergo to do this. And you can find whatever information you need there if that's what you want. But for me, this is a spiritual calling and this is a spiritual vocation. And I do not want to start a huge paywall and I do not want to go down the commercial route. I would rather just go do something completely different. So if you want this community to continue, you need to stop relying on those 30 people and start doing your part. Like I said, it doesn't have to be financial, but do your part in sharing, do your part in spreading the word, do your part in just talking about the material to other people, tag it, whatever it is people do on social media. Otherwise, just admit it. You're here to take. So this is a time for everyone to be honest. And believe me, this is the sugar-coated version of this video. So this is a time for everyone to be honest, and I encourage everyone to put these principles in practice. If we want to move forward together, do your part. And that's a wrap. Take care. Very many blessings to everyone. I know not of you are not going to like this video, but I don't give a damn. I am here to walk in truth with people who are aligned in word and in deed. Kindness does not mean sugarcoating things and allowing people to take others for granted. Kindness means being real where reality is needed. And that is what we need, not just in this community, but all over the world. So start making a difference where you can. That's a wrap. Ciao, ciao for now.